People, we got another crazy, insane first time watch for you guys. I've been trying to hype this up for a little bit now. It's another movie that Chris has not seen that I'm very much looking forward to seeing him witness for the first time. But we are officially watching the 1997 cult action classic directed by John Woo, starring John Travolta and Nicolas Cage. It is Face Off. Chris, oh man, you looking forward to this?
First time watch, first time seeing it. Let's do this.
Let's fucking do this. All right, Chris, we're here. We are, I mean, look, we've been talking a lot off screen about this, but I don't think the audience quite understands just how excited I am for them to finally see not just this format that we've been doing for these types of videos, but just this specific video in general.
Yeah, I don't even know if I quite understand just how excited you are for this movie, but needless to say, we've been, like you said, hyping this film up a lot on the channel over the past few months, and so it's only fitting that I finally crossed this one off my list, because for everything I've heard about this film, I just don't even know if even the most glowing reviews, which of course hanging out with you all the time I get, live up to the hype. This movie has a legacy already in my mind that seems untouchable, so we're just going to see what happens.
You know what it is? It's just the fact that look, I've been going off this working theory that I heard of the rewatchables that in the 90s with action movies, they didn't actually have a script. They just came up with a title that sounded awesome, and then they just wrote a script based off of that. And I feel like there couldn't be more of a better example of that than this movie right here. So real quick before we get started, so John Travolta and Nicolas Cage star in this, obviously, but some other pairings that almost happen for this movie. And I just have to preface it with this because it makes all the difference, especially once you actually see what happens in the movie and what the plot is about. Because I won't say that here because that's too much of a spoilery. Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger was originally who the script was written in mind with. Then eventually they tried with Michael Douglas and Harrison Ford. There was a rumor out there that they were going to go with Bruce Willis and Alec Baldwin. And then my personal favorite pairing that almost happened, Jean-Claude Van Damme and Steven Seagal. Like, that would have been the worst movie ever, but it would have been hilarious just given what the actual concept is. It's, oh man, it's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, you know, all those pairings sound interesting, but none of them sound as interesting as everyone just talking to me about this movie lately. It seems like one of those hidden gems that's becoming less and less hidden as time goes on, at least for someone who's going into this completely cold turkey. So, man, I'm just sort of chomping at the bit to sink my teeth into this one and
well,
just see what happens. I don't know about you, but I'm ready to go.
Let's not wait anymore. Let's get this shit going.
Hell yeah.
I already can. Oh my God. What is it with Travolta? Why does he do this? I don't get it. He has to put his hand over everyone's goddamn face. John Woo trademark. Ridiculous slow-mo and over-the-top operatic music in completely normal, mundane scenes.
This is ridiculous. What the hell is he wearing?
Dude, I'm telling you. Haven't even gotten to it yet.
Wow.
Oh, I miss late 90s action puns.
What the hell? Oh my God.
Ah, yes, the first longest runway ever, pre-Fast and Furious 6. Wait, whoopsie!
This further bolsters my argument of why I hate modern action movies.
Yeah, the jumping on sideways, shoot the gun technique.
Yep, I love how there's always like barrels of exploding shit around in these types of like situations.
Oh,
that looks painful.
Not at all an obvious stunt double.
Nah, I'm done. Stop with the face shit. I'm getting pissed off now.
They may have caught the guy, but they don't have the bomb.
It looks like they got footage from the first Metal Gear Solid game.
Right?
If he just says yes, that's hilarious.
Oh, the movie is called Face Off. So
he thought about it for 7 seconds.
The logical conclusion to finding this bomb, he will undergo a secretive procedure to have Nicolas Cage's face put onto his, and then he will go undercover as Cage in jail in order to retrieve the location of the bomb from Nick Cage's brother. What could go wrong?
I'm really not a fan of that. This movie does seem like an actor's like daydream.
Yep. Of course. To quote Jesse Pinkman, yes, magnets. I just love the way somebody broke this down too on the podcast. It's like Travolta's got to impersonate Cage, pretending to be Travolta, pretending to be Cage. It was like a Russian doll of acting. The sign of a true badass. Smoking without his face on.
Really
He's
cool.
Like,
wow.
Oh fuck. In a mirror, only No, I've listened to this. I've heard in-depth discussions. There's no way his wife, after sex, would know. If you were ever to do a face swap operation like this, who do you think it would work the best with?
I've never thought about that. Plot thick. Wow, what a movie.
Oh my God. How the daughter could figure out instantly what the wife somehow couldn't. Okay, question. So obviously they went out of their way to explain that Cage got the mic in his throat to make him sound obviously like Cage, but did he also do that with Travolta?
Travolta's good in
having
this.
the time of his life now. Also, another thing I love in action movies, guys always jumping like 300 feet into bodies of water, always survive. God damn it! Again!
Of his greatest hits in one place,
Yeah,
huh?
right? Oh my God, they're actually doing it. They're doing the Austin Powers ironic evil laugh, but they're not doing it ironically. Nice. Oh, I love how like 18 of like the 200 Nicolas Cage memes based solely off his facial expressions come from this movie. What's the number one way to make you slightly care about what happens to a villain? Give him a son. This is one of the most elaborate bad guy mansions I've ever seen. Fun fact, Mark Wahlberg almost played that part, the part of Pollux Troy. So wait, did he give him a heart attack by looking at him and then just like slam him in the chest and give him a real heart? Like, what the fuck was that? Are Travolta and Cage actually giving good performances in this movie? Is he waiting the whole time for her? God fucking damn it. It's like the movie was hearing us and is now just intentionally trolling us. See a lot of bad boys.
Exactly. Yes, it does.
And then he's like, no, not gonna do that. Have you ever seen a church interior that looks like that?
It looks very California.
It looks like the interior of a setting from Dracula, the third John Woo trademark, The Doves. And it's ironic because I told you Brian De Palma directed the first Mission Impossible movie, right?
Yeah, you did.
You want to know who directed the second one?
This guy.
John Woo. Whee!
This is amazing. Oh my
God.
God.
What a predicament was
There's
John
so
Woo.
many guns. There's so many guns.
This was John Woo being like, okay, Tarantino, hold my beer. Then freaking doves being everywhere.
I miss when bad guys had unlimited resources, you know? Now they got to play by rules and snaps and blips, and it's just not as much fun.
Be interested to hear your thoughts on the John Wick movies, though.
Is this streaming anywhere? I got to rewatch this again. It hurts him more than it hurts. Oh my God. That was a calculation. He had to do it. I respect him. He had to do it. He doesn't pick him up after surgery. Okay.
Yeah, right? I don't know whether to be happy or still frightened and / disgusted that it's the real Travolta back. I give up. Okay, now they're just messing with us. Oh man, what a movie! I just gotta say, like it's been. I'm trying to think now. It's been roughly, when did I watch that movie for the first time? 2017? So yeah, so it's been roughly 4 years since I saw that movie for the first time. And Chris, I mean, it definitely seems like you were having a pretty good time, but just listen, what are your final thoughts on Face Off?
Yeah, well, this is our first time watch. You know, we did Tenet, which I watched for the first time and ended up loving it. We did Silence of the Lambs, which I watched for the first time and ended up loving it. And we did Face Off, and to say I love it is a disservice to how much I like this movie. I can't quantify how much I like this film. I really liked it that much. I'm not just saying that, like, because again, it has my heart in the decade and the era and the attention to detail of the filmmakers that we lost. So it's, you know, we lost some, like, every moment's paid off, like twisting the knife and, you know, not needing the scar anymore. Like, I miss that type of stuff, you know, and it seems so easy to do as a professional screenwriter, yet we lost that. So that's like really my big takeaway is like the disparity between the films of back then and now, action wise. Because every time we cover one of these things, with Tenet being like kind of an exception, although we also did sort of recognize the problems in that watch, but it was like one of the closest we've had to some of what I love about this genre. It's like I love it, but then I'm also sad because I know, at least in the current state we're in, we're not going to get anything nearly as good as this. But you know, you asked me a question during it, and I've been making my opinion of it the whole time as we're watching it, and you asked, are they just being so over the top that it's convincing, or are they actually performing and delivering a killer performance? And I honestly think these guys crushed this film. Like, yeah, some of it's ridiculous. This is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. I hate that.
It's really
if anyone
bad.
Ever tries doing that to me,
it's really, really bad.
I'm going to freak out. That's not okay. You should not do that to people. But other than that, man, dude, this was some great acting. This was a great film. It knows who it is and what it is, and if you take it seriously, that's on you. But if you can just enjoy it, it's a 5 out of 5 if you can just enjoy it.
It's
Okay,
so I can't objectively in good standing give this a 5 out of 5 for a ton of different reasons that are just as long as I am. But this is without a doubt one of the most entertaining movies ever made. Like, it's the definition of. I'm not going to do the title bit again, but it's the definition of a movie where it just has a fucking ridiculous premise and it somehow makes it work. It just pulls out all the stops. It just does everything that it needs to as far as just totally embellishing itself in its premise. And I think so, to kind of weirdly enough like pay off a point that I made before, which is that I don't know what happened as far as the dissemination from the pre-internet age to the internet age of movies, but for some reason, the ability to make something that was ironically funny that could still be enjoyable was just lost. And now it's either got to be Deadpool, where it's mouthing off every 3 seconds and completely acknowledging how self-aware it is, or it's so straight to the point where it's just boring and not fun. And I miss these types of movies, you know? I miss those types of movies that their premise is ridiculous and everyone involved in the movie is still taking it seriously, but the premise and everything is just so ridiculously outlandish that you can just enjoy it while still at the same time not picking apart every single thing and nitpicking it. It's so weird because this is one of those movies that in a weird way lends itself to the internet age, even though it was made prior to it, because it's one of those movies that if that just like internet people, like if they nitpick it, they're just gonna like end up like not enjoying it ultimately, you know, if that makes any sense. It's a movie where it's like it literally is just more fun the less you think. It's one of those movies where it is both less and more fun the more that you think about it, you know? Because, like, right? Because think about it. The whole thing, right, about the internet is the internet kind of ruined, like, those conversations. You know, it was just those conversations you would have, like, when you got, like, you know, when you were just chilling with your friends at, like, 3 o'clock in the morning, you know, where you're just chilling and you were just talking about stupid shit about movies that no one cared about. And then the internet came around and that just became, like, a thing to do. You know, and that's kind of like what ruined, like, and kind of sucked the fun out of movies. But this is one of those rare movies where it doesn't matter how much you discuss and break it down. It still is fascinating, you know? Because it's just, I've asked so many questions about this movie since the first time I saw it. And now, like, I still have those questions have sort of been answered, but at the same time, they haven't. And it's one of those reasons why I can keep coming back to it. So even though I don't necessarily think this is I'm not going to say a perfect movie. Obviously, I still think it's a great movie, but it is without a doubt one of the most enjoyable, entertaining movies that I have just ever seen. And it is the definition of a rewatchable movie.
Yeah, definitely a rewatchable film. This movie doesn't have all the answers, and it goes against the formula that we're so used to now, where everything's going to be paid off, and keep your eyes peeled for the Easter eggs, kids, because it's coming. This movie speaks to how film critique has changed for the worse, and it's gone away from critiquing the aspects of filmmaking that make film interesting, and really it's become a Where's Waldo hunt of, oh my God, will Wanda see this person, and will that happen? Because if that happens, then it's going to kick off this chain reaction. And are we really talking about the movie, or are we talking about a chain of events that's gonna happen, but it's not happening in this moment?
Nothing to do with the actual thing that we're watching itself.
And I think if you're, you know, of our generation and you're in this YouTube community, look, you know, I've learned a lot in this journey. I was a different person when I started doing this podcast 3 years ago. And what I realized is the person I used to be did not live in the moment. I was so trained by these big companies to look ahead and keep your eyes peeled for the Where's Waldo hunt of Easter eggs that I couldn't enjoy the moment. And so because of that, like films like this, if this was me 3 years ago, I would have been frustrated to the highest of degrees with it, because, you know, it's not what we're used to. It's so of an older ilk. And I think that's what kind of we lost in even action films. You can have payoffs and good writing, and you can have them in the time period that you're in this moment, right? It doesn't have to be watch WandaVision to get the payoff in the next big movie on screen, then watch the Falcon and Winter Soldier show to get something seven, you know, movies or TV shows down the line. Like, there is setting things up, but then there's also making the moment you're in special. And I know that comes up a lot on this show, so I don't want to get too far in a tangent, but like, if you guys have been following our show and heard us speak about that recently, this is a great example of how we've gotten away from enjoying, you know, living in the moment and enjoying a film, even as silly as this one is, for some of the great qualities it has. And I don't know, action films just aren't what they used to be. And this is a great example of it. So,
I think that's the most like kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Elevated critique that I've ever seen delivered about a movie like Face Off, and it makes me even happier that you're the guy who does this with me. Because
I'm glad you thought that was elevated. I just I just took in a lot, so I'm trying to.
Where Nicolas Cage literally says, "I want to take his face off." Like,
yeah,
I love this movie. Like, I don't want to talk too much more because at the risk of kind of spoiling it, but just spoiling like just the moment, as you said. But this is a great movie. So, what's your star rating?
Yeah, I mean, I just got to stick with my gut here and say it's a 5 out of 5. And, it's not because it's a 5 out of 5 for the same reasons The Godfather is. Understand what I'm saying,
Yes. Okay.
It's a 5 out of 5 because it knows very well what it is, and I respect films that have that quality. So
yeah. With that being said, again, it's not a perfect movie, unfortunately, but you know. But you just about me personally, you know how high my bar is for perfect movies. And this film, as entertaining as enjoyable as it was, certainly did not hit that. But with that being said, it's still one of the best made action movies. It's still probably one of my top 10 favorite action movies. It's one of the silliest, most ridiculous movies ever made, but I absolutely love it. It features 2 lead performances that are two of the greatest unintentionally funny lead performances ever. This is a 4 out of 5 for me, like, no question. It's not perfect, not even close, but it is without a doubt one of the most entertaining things I think I've ever seen. So with that being said, thanks guys for tuning in to yet another first time watch. Again, like I think we've been doing pretty well with these, and we gotta, let's just say again, at the risk of spoiling what some future ones we have are, we've got a couple cool ones coming up, and we might also be changing up the format. We've got a couple movies now that Chris has seen that Chris has not seen that I have, and so
we should definitely tell him what next month's is.
Oh, you want to tell him? You want to tell him?
Sure.
All right.
Stuck this long in the video, they deserve to hear it.
All right.
Opinion.
Well, so fun fact. So we decided to change it a couple things up for the next one. So the next time we're actually going to change it up, and now we're going to do a movie that I have not seen that Chris has. And what better to do than anime and manga and what's it called? What's the term? I think Studio Ghibli kind of just has a term in and of itself as far as just Japanese animation and the influences that it's had. But the one, again, I don't even know how you would categorize this film, has kind of been making the rounds, obviously, as far as not just you, Chris, but other people have been telling me about, like, the majesty of this movie. And what is it you said? This guy spent his entire life making this movie and then never made another movie again, and it's absolutely perfect?
Yeah, he, this is his magnum opus.
Yeah, so next month's first time watch is none other than Akira. And I'm not going to say anything else about that because I've heard a lot about this movie, and I'm very, very excited to watch it for the first time. That's all I'm going to say. It's going to be fun. You guys are not going to want to miss this next one.
No, it's going to be great. I can't wait for them to see that.
But yeah, with that being said, you guys know what to do. Thanks again for tuning in to another first time watch. Click the subscribe button for more awesome content from us, just in general. Click the bell next to it. Click the like button. Leave a comment below. What are some other first time watches that you'd like us to see? Obviously, again, the criteria is it has to be a movie that either Chris or I have not watched. But
shoot in the dark. Chances are one of us hasn't seen it.
Yeah, chances are. Yeah,
probably me. But
I wasn't going to say it, but. Follow us on our socials, Facebook and Instagram at Talkin TV, at Talkin TV Podcast, in order to stay updated with the latest information stuff. Chris, where can the good people find you online?
Yeah, they can find me here, obviously, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But on my personal accounts, they can find me at Christian Ivanko. I make music. I have another podcast. And I just, I'm an artistic guy. And I feel like I have a bit of a different take, not by choice, just by who I am on a lot of things in films and TV. So if you like that, yeah, it's at Christian Ivanko. It'll be in the description, so don't get caught up on the spelling right now. And I hope to see you there. Thank you so much for following me if you do.
And you guys
Tom, what about you?
And you guys can follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Movie Nerd Reviews, where I mostly just make sarcastic comments about movies on Facebook, and I occasionally post pictures of my haircuts on Instagram, and that's about all that I actually post on my personal pages yet. I don't feel like I have enough content that I create on the side in order to constitute it, because the majority of my focus is here on the Talkin TV podcast. It's our baby. It's our thing that I have dedicated my life to, and yeah, I'm not changing that anytime soon. So this is fun. I can't wait for you guys to see the next one. These seem to be going really well so far, and I love doing them. So keep staying tuned for our first time watches, because we got a lot more fun stuff planned for you guys. And as always, 12 seasons in a short film. We'll see you guys next time.